Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Olivia Quay. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you never miss an episode. Singapore tourism is continuing its recovery with over 2.9 million visitors coming here in the first quarter of this year. Well, that's 62% of pre-COVID-19 numbers when 4.7 million people visited in Q1 2019. Now, while the total number of visitors hasn't caught up yet, those who stayed here stayed longer, an average of 3.97 days, up from 3.34 days in 2019. Meanwhile, the Singapore Tourism Board and the Infocomm Media Development Authority are partnering to launch a $10 million Singapore on-screen fund to help the creation of entertainment content like films and TV shows that spotlights and markets Singapore. Media conglomerates, major streamers and production studios with regional or global networks will be invited to apply. In addition to distribution and market reach, content concept and creative merit, proposals will be evaluated based on their opportunities to feature Singapore's offerings and experiences, as well as the number of local talents in credited roles. For instance, about 300 Singaporeans worked on the 2018 hit Crazy Rich Asians, while landmarks like Marina Bay Sands and Malayan Park were featured. Successful projects will receive funding of up to 30% of their qualifying costs related to featuring Singapore, including production and marketing. In other news, COE premiums for two car categories setting records for the second time in a row in the latest tender exercise. The open category COE also hitting a new high. Premiums for Cat A, which is for smaller cars, closing at just over $96,500, a 3.21% hike over the record set 2 weeks ago, while prices for larger cars and more powerful EVs ending at 1.98% over the previous high. The open category E COE price was the third one to set a record, closing at just under $119,000, up 2.56% from the previous record set at the second tender exercise in February. Meanwhile, the Fairprice Group says about 400,000 people holding Kopitiam cards have made the switch to the Fairprice app since the 1st of March. It comes as the deadline nears for the card to be discontinued on June the 30th. Kopitiam has stationed more than 80 digital buddies at selected times at 15 high-volume outlets until June to ease the transition. Well, the group says 7 in 10 of these card holders have converted the stored value balance on their cards into link points on the app. Popular online bookstore Book Depository is set to close at the end of April. It comes amid recent layoffs by parent company Amazon. Well, the UK-based bookstore's last day will be on April the 26th, and customers will have until 7 p.m. to place their orders. It will continue to deliver and provide support for orders until June 23rd. Now, Book Depository was founded in 2004 with a vision of providing all books available to all. It was acquired by Amazon in 2011, the tech giant having recently announced 2 rounds of layoffs impacting more than 27,000 people. History in the U.S. as Donald Trump becomes the first president ever to be criminally indicted. As expected, after surrendering in a New York court, he denied all 34 felony counts against him of falsifying business records. Now, he didn't speak with reporters on his way out of the courthouse, but posted on social media during his flight back to Florida, where he then gave a campaign-style speech at Mar-a-Lago to cheering supporters.
And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. This fake case was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately. Incredibly, we are now a failing nation. We are a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. We can't let that happen. With all of this being said, and with a very dark cloud over our beloved country, I have no doubt, nevertheless, that we will make America great again.
Well, the judge has set the next hearing for December the 4th, but legal experts say a trial may not even get underway for a year. And so ends Trump's historic day in court. Our U.S. Bureau Chief Numal Ghosh, who was outside the Manhattan courthouse today, files this report.
Early on Tuesday morning, in fact, there were just a handful of Trump supporters surrounded by journalists. Later, the number of his supporters grew to maybe around 100 to 150, and there were an equal number roughly on the other side, the anti-Trump brigade. Now, police had closed off the street in front of the courthouse where there was a line of media positions, white tents, fixed cameras and so forth, generators, satellite trucks on the next road, and the rest of the media was milling around or waiting around. Now, this being New York City, it was a motley crowd on both sides. Some genuine political believers, but some there just for the fun. They were separated from each other by 2 rows of fences, and the middle ground was patrolled by police who did not let them cross over and moved in very quickly to stop arguments from getting into fights. There was a lot of noise, a lot of yelling, a lot of chanting, a lot of taunting and insults at each other across this dividing line. Then finally, Donald Trump arrived in the afternoon, and media helicopters were tracking his motorcade all the way so we could watch its progress on mobile phones. And he did not take the front entrance, he took some other entrance, and video cameras were not allowed in the court. As for the trial, there will be a bunch of legal challenges, and that is a slow and tortuous process. And if it goes to a trial, some reports say the earliest that will happen is December. By the way, this is also seen as possibly the weakest of the cases that may be brought against him. There are other investigations into Donald Trump, and any of those could well result in more charges, and in fact more serious charges. So this episode could end up being eclipsed in the months ahead. Now, regardless, as we saw from his speech later at his home in Florida, he has seized upon this to underscore his narrative, which is of political persecution, his narrative of grievance. And for now, the party has coalesced around him, and the net effect is that he is now not just a favorite for the party's nomination, he is in fact a firm favorite. Yet, having said that, literally anything can happen. A year and a half is an eternity in politics, as they say, and this is going to be a particularly fraught period in the United States as it heads into the campaign for the 2024 race for the White House.
Well, those are our top stories today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Olivia Quay, and I'll see you tomorrow on The Big Story.